And this is the section that we're working on right now. This is what I'd like to talk about today, credit cards. And specifically, I'd like to talk about credit card abuse and some of the dangers associated with the use of credit cards. Okay, first of all, I'd like to share with you a file here regarding FICO score. FICO stands for Fair, Isaac and Company. As you see here, it was first introduced in 1989. It's a system whereby we keep up with people's credit score. Everybody has a FICO score. Let me give you the citation here. This is where this information is coming from. It's coming from Experian.com, which is one of the big credit reporting agencies. As soon as you start buying things on credit, immediately out of high school, your credit report will begin to generate. Now, you will not even know about this. Sometimes maybe people don't even know that they have a credit report until many years later when they want to go and buy a house or buy something really big, and then all of a sudden the report comes back to them. Anything that you buy on credit is reported to the credit agencies. And there's three of them: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Your score is going to be 200 to 850. I think mine is about 850. I've been very careful to make sure that my credit has been perfect all my life. When I graduated from high school, I bought a car the very first year out of high school. My parents co-signed for the car, and I worked hard and I paid it off, and that was a good start to my credit report. Let me say this though, it was many years later, probably I would say about 10 years later, when I saw for the first time my actual credit report, which is being kept by this company, by the FICO company here. These three here companies keep your credit report, and I was really surprised. That's why I have up here George Orwell's 1984. Which is a book that was written in 1949. It's a science fiction book about a government that keeps up with everybody, and the government's always watching people and spying on people, and the government knows everything about everybody. And I put that book up here because that's kind of how I felt when the very first time I saw my credit report. I was so shocked and surprised that somebody had been keeping up with me in great detail. Your credit report is very detailed. Everything I had ever bought was on that report. Everything that I had bought on credit was on that report, including all of my bills that I've been paying for the utility companies, such as Duke Energy, Duke Power, Verizon, Wireless. All of that stuff is on your report. The report is color-coded. It's yellow, green, and red. If you have been paying on time, then you have green all the way down. If you have been making payments, but your payments are late, then you have yellow. If you have missed payments, then there's red. And you can actually pull up somebody's report, and you can basically tell what kind of a risk they're going to be based upon just looking at the colors of the report. But they also have these numbers here which indicate how much of a credit risk you are based upon your past history of purchasing. I tell you what, I'm going to link this file underneath this video so that you can pull it up and look at it yourself. 800 indicates an exceptional FICO score is well above the average credit score. Consumers in this range may experience an easy approval process when applying for new credit. Basically, they can get anything they want with just their signature. And it means that you're very unlikely to become delinquent in your payments if you borrow money or if you buy something on credit. And as we go down, the likelihood begins to increase. Of course, down here at the bottom, 579 and lower indicates a very poor FICO score. It's considered to be a poor credit. Consumers will probably be rejected for credit cards. If they want to buy a car, they'll probably be rejected. If they want to buy a house, they will probably be rejected because their past history indicates that they are a risk and they are very likely to become delinquent in their payments. In other words, they're just not going to pay based upon their past history. So again, this report exists immediately after you start buying things on credit and immediately after you start paying bills. Because like I said, your phone company, your power company, your water company, your utilities company, all of those companies are also going to report to the credit bureau. They're going to do that on a regular basis. So be careful. Make sure that you're paying things on time. The other thing I just want to talk about is, first of all, avoid credit if at all possible. It's not a bad idea to go ahead and buy some things on credit just so that you do have a good credit reference. Sometimes not having any credit report at all is almost as bad as having a bad one. So it's okay to go ahead and buy some things on credit. Like for me, for example, when I graduated from high school, I bought a car on credit. And I think that was a very good thing for me to do. By the way, it was a used car. It was an old Volkswagen Beetle, one of the old Beetles, 1966 Volkswagen Beetle, which I loved. And my parents co-signed for it. I paid it off and I immediately established good credit rating. From that point, my credit just kept going up and up. I've never missed a payment on anything, not even power bills or phone bills or water bills. I've always been on time with everything and I've always made my payments. So my credit is very high. My credit's almost 850. I think the reason it's not 850 is because they would like for me to have a little bit more credit. Everybody's going to want to give you a free credit card. Be careful. I only have one. Well, I actually have two. One is a Visa card that I use for emergency purposes only. The second card is a BP auto fuel card that I use at the pump. The important thing is I do pay my credit card off immediately in full. Both of my credit cards currently have a zero balance. The credit card companies are not making any money off of me because they're not able to charge me interest. Now, remember, if you decide after you make a payment, after you make a purchase on a credit card, if you decide to continue to make payments as opposed to paying it off in whole, then you're going to have to pay interest, and fairly high interest. Now, I have linked another video down below here, which I'd like for you to look at. It's right below this video on the dangers of interest. Okay. And by the way, that particular danger will not go away even after you pass away. If you have a lot of credit card debt, even after you pass away, that credit card debt must be paid, and it will come out of your estate. In other words, if you own a house or if you own property, the government will sell that property before the children get it in order to pay off that credit card debt. The credit card debt has to be paid off. It's very important that you keep up with this and understand that it's best not to accumulate a credit card debt because they're going to charge you so much interest for your purchases. As I said, I keep my credit card at zero balance so that I don't have to pay any interest whatsoever on my credit card. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you buy a product such as maybe a CD player or a television. If you buy it on credit and make payments on that television, then your credit card company is going to charge you interest on that purchase. Whereas the television may have cost the purchase price of that television may have been $400. Eventually, you may end up paying $600 for that television if you make payments on it, which means that you're buying the television for $400, but then you're giving your credit card company $200. Why would you want to do that? I don't do that. I don't give my money to anybody. If I'm going to buy a television, I buy it with cash. I buy it up front. Now, if I do have to use my credit card, I will pay it off immediately. Now, if you pay it off at the end of the month, they will not charge you any interest if you pay it off in full. I do not keep any kind of balance on my credit cards because I don't want to give anybody else money. If I can't afford it immediately, then I won't buy it. I'll wait until I can afford to buy something before I'll actually purchase that product. Now, I know many people who use their credit card for everything imaginable. When they go to Golden Corral, they'll use their credit card. When they go to McDonald's, they'll use their credit card. When they go to Subway, they'll use their credit card. I've seen people use credit cards everywhere for basically everything. I don't do that, and I would not recommend that you do that either. Your credit card is a very useful tool to have in your wallet. Keep it in your wallet for emergency purposes only. For example, if you're stranded out on the road somewhere late at night and you need to call a tow truck to fix your car, then that's a good time to have a credit card. You're going to need some extra cash there to get that car fixed so you can get back home. You don't want to use your credit card for anything other than emergency purposes. Let's talk about the difference now between a credit card and a debit card. Credit card means that you have a line of credit. The bank has given you a line of credit. For some people, it might be $10,000. For some people, $25,000. For some people, $50,000 or even $100,000. So you can take that credit card and you can charge up to that line of credit. You don't have to have the money already in the bank. You're just basically borrowing from the bank with your credit card. The bank knows that you're going to make payments on that. They're hoping, by the way, that you will make payments so that they can make some money off of that purchase. They're going to charge you interest, and that's how they make money. On the other hand, a debit card means that you do not have a line of credit. You actually have cash that's already in the bank in your checking account. So when you use a debit card, the bank is immediately going to take that money from your checking account. Sometimes if a person gets a credit card, they'll just go wild and start buying everything. And if that's the case, you might want to get a debit card because a debit card, you're not allowed to purchase more than what's in your account. Again, watch the video underneath here. It's going to talk about how dangerous it is to start charging and start making payments only on what it is that you've charged. Families have been broken up over this, financial problems. I know marriages have been broken, have ended because of one or the other, or maybe even both of. Couple are charging and overcharging on their credit card, and they end up breaking up because of financial difficulty. So be very, very careful about how you use your credit. If you have questions, please send me an email. I'd be happy to talk to you more about the dangers associated with credit card abuse.